Welcome, everybody, to the Ogden Way podcast. I'm Ogden City Mayor Ben Nadolski, and this is a place where we talk about Ogden and our history by talking about the people who make Ogden. And today, I'm joined by an old friend, Steve Handy, former Representative Steve Handy, which is where I first met you, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We had a great run together, Mayor.
We had a good run.
We had a great run.
I used to work in legislative affairs in my prior career and got to work with a lot of legislators, including Steve. And Steve, you've always been a joy to work with.
Thank you.
So
likewise.
It's fitting now that I get to work with you as the new chair of the Pioneer Days Foundation.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So you'll be taking over for Alan Hall?
Alan had a great run for a number of years, 7 or 8 years, and announced his retirement. And so I was appointed the vice chair-elect last year, and then he vacated his cowboy boots on July 24th, 2024. So here we are.
Yeah, and he pretty well vacated. I saw him the other day, and I joked with him. I'm like, hey, man, if you need a ticket or something, let me know. I got a guy.
Yeah, I got a guy. I know a guy.
Only one ticket, though.
Yeah. No, but amazing things that he did, because he brought, after privatization, there were some, in the late 90s, there were some really difficult years, and with the city's support. And Alan brought really business principles to what we really needed.
Yeah, and when you say privatization, there was a transition period between when the city was kind of owned and ran the show versus when it became a private entity through the foundation with support from the city. And that's been the model that's really worked the best.
It is a marvelous model today, because I was involved 35 years ago, Mayor, and I had risen up to be the chair and the vice chair 35 years ago, 40 years ago maybe. And it was a marvelous thing with the city, but our hands were tied. We wanted to do things, and I understand that. Our hands were tied, and we weren't able to grow the way that we thought we could. So it's a great day.
Well, we're actually sitting in a podcast studio called the Ogden Way.
Yeah.
And that's not for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ogden Way really is about a collaborative model and setting ourselves up for a framework to where the city and our nonprofit partners and private partners and other governmental entities can collaborate to make sure that we're all aligned in the work that we're doing, and that we're all sort of going in the same direction, working toward the same goals. Because this is a perfect example. There are efficiencies to be gained.
Yes. For
the taxpayers, for the people that enjoy the rodeo, right? Just the bottom line, you guys are doing much better in terms of revenue. Sponsorships are people want to sponsor a foundation much more than they want to sponsor government. Am I right?
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
So this is the kind of model and the arrangement that works and helps us build community and helps us be our best. Mm-hmm. So thanks for taking that on.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are for anybody that's listening or watching that hasn't been to the rodeo, tell me what they could expect.
Well, yeah, this is what they can expect. And I think, Mayor, we have to go back just a little bit in the time machine to 1934, when one of Ogden's legendary mayors, Harm Perry, in the depths of the Depression. Now, we can't appreciate this today. 25% unemployment.
Wow.
And so he and his colleagues looked for something to bring joy and bring the community together. And there was already, obviously, in those days, a lot of Western heritage. Mm-hmm. The 1847 Mormon pioneers, there were still, really direct descendants, and people that had known people who actually crossed the plains up to 1869. And there had been these celebrations, but he formalized it and named it Ogden Pioneer Days. And so went out here in the old Lauren Farr Park, where we still are. It's the West's most spectacular outdoor setting. And so here we are now, all these years later, our 91st year. And I was born and raised in Ogden. I've gone to the rodeo my whole life. I've been around livestock and horses and a little bit of that hobby kind of stuff. But Weber County certainly is a long way away from the rural, from rural kind of things. And most people, they but the Western lifestyle today, and I credit really kind of Kevin Costner's Yellowstone series, just kicked off this phenomenon of people want to be involved in the Western lifestyle, the clothing, all of this. And so we're exploiting that, or not exploiting, we're kind of riding that wave here in 2025. And it's a really exciting. So most of the people who come, we'll get 10, 11,000 people a night out here at our stadium. they don't know, they've never ridden a horse. They don't know anything about it, but it's tradition. They want to go and have a good time. They want to see some cowboy get kicked in the head, unfortunately, by a bull. They want to see someone get thrown off. And we're going to give that to them for a really, really reasonable price of the average price is about $20 a ticket. You can't get that kind of entertainment anywhere else. And so, but the other thing I want to say real quickly, Mayor, and your other questions is that Ogden Pioneer Days has grown up to be, there are 765 sanctioned Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Ogden is number 14.
That's amazing.
Because of the money that we pay out. And I've talked to people now in the industry and just held in high esteem.
Absolutely.
And I think people need to understand what we have here. Even if you have never ridden a horse or anything like that, it's just really a fun time.
It is. So, as you know, the mayor gets to go to the rodeo every night.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's important that I do because I'm an ambassador for the city, and this is an important event for the city.
Yes, it is.
It's an important week of events, right?
Yes.
And I was there last year, and of course, through the week, sometimes I'm in the program a little bit for in between events.
Yeah, shaking hands
or giving awards or whatever.
Yeah, giving awards.
And so I was out in the crowd, and there was a couple that were here from Florida on their way to Wyoming for the
Cheyenne Frontier Days, probably.
Yeah. Yep. And they
stopped in Ogden.
Yep. And they had a rodeo in their own city in Florida, stopped in Ogden on the way because they'd heard about the reputation. And they said, Mayor, you just have to know how amazing this event is. And I'm like, absolutely, I know, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, but we just wanted to tell you that we're from Florida and this is incredible.
Such an exciting testimonial, Mayor.
It is. And it's easy for those of us that live here and take local things for granted.
Take it for granted, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And there's there's a lot of people out there that just, maybe they don't think much of Ogden, right? Outside of Ogden.
Right.
But dang it, we think a lot of ourselves and we do good things. We do great things. We do world-class things even. We have world-class people that come out of Ogden.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
This is a world-class event.
And I've talked to people in the rodeo industry and they saw I was wearing my shirt with my stuff. Oh, you're from Ogden. Let me tell you about Ogden. This guy from the PRCA board said last year at the convention in Las Vegas, he said, Ogden is held in high esteem. You treat the contestants extremely well. It's a great place to come. The rodeo is well run and organized. The crowd, the fans are tremendous, and the setting is like none other.
It's true.
And when your horses get tired, you take them down in that Ogden River and cool them off. He said it's unbelievable.
that's
unbelievable.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's even better.
That's like the way it's supposed to be.
We have really something really great going for us that people really ought to really understand and remember. Kind of take it for granted, but understand.
Let's talk about that for a second because it's more than just the rodeo. We hear this a lot in this office. People come to Ogden. For example, I had a guest here who was a guest speaker at Weber State talking about sustainability, and he had a completely different take on sustainability. It's totally nonpartisan, and I loved where he was coming from, so I brought him into the studio. And on the way here, just driving from there to here, he's like, this place just welcomes you.
Yeah.
He goes, and we hear that same testimonial all the time. When people come to Ogden, they feel welcomed.
Yes.
Right? And
that is right.
And within a day or two, they're like, I just feel so at ease and at home here. And I love that about us. Right? I was talking to one of our officers the other day, and it's like, sometimes it feels like it's Ogden against the world, but at the same time, it's us. It's Ogden. And in that same unity, I think that's something that we take for granted here, but it's something that people that come from outside, they notice it, they feel it.
They know it and they recognize it and they embrace it and they spread the word. And I think that's really, really great. I mean, like I say, I'm an Ogden boy, and so I know all about Ogden. And I worked here for 10 years for the newspaper and in the advertising business. And so I know Ogden, and I know Ogden's resurgence. I know I was here on 25th Street last Friday night for the car show, 40,000 people or whatever that was.
Packed.
It's just a blast.
Isn't it amazing?
And the things you have in the amphitheater, and then we have this 24th of July multiple day celebration, the rodeo, the parade, all kinds of other activities, and I think it's part of the fabric and the flavor that makes Ogden so unique and so special.
Right, it's a whole week of celebration, and we seem to make it better every year by adding something or doing something new, something unique. like the flag flying over 25th Street is like one of my favorite.
That is so great.
Isn't it?
We going to do that again?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Great.
I love the flag, so I'll always support that.
Yeah.
But what are some of the new things that we can expect for the rodeo?
Yeah.
This year?
This year we're doing something. This is typically a 5-night performance of the rodeo. With this year, we would start on July 19th. We always skip a Sunday, other activities on a Sunday, and then you go the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, ending on the 24th, which is kind of our statehood day, de facto statehood day in Utah, as we know, celebrations all up and down the state. Mm-hmm. But we're going to start on the 18th of Friday, and we've called this Bulls, Broncs, and Bands. So this is an additional night of the rodeo. We're bringing in an up-and-coming country music star named Chancey Williams. He's going to be the night before in Dickinson, North Dakota. Bus here, do the concert here with us in the stadium. The next night in Big Sky, Montana, and then on to Cheyenne Frontier Days. Boom, 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 boom. So this is going to be so...
Kind of got the order a little bit.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
yeah. There you go. So anyway, this is a little bit, the ticket prices are a little bit more, $48 dollars or so and up a little bit, but still very, very affordable. But it'll be a mini rodeo. We'll have a local band. Charlie Jenkins Band will be on starting at 5:30, and then we'll do some rough stock, some bulls and some broncs and some other things. And then we have this really neat guy. He's a bull jumper. He brings these little bulls and they charge him and he jumps over them. I've seen the video and you're just going, how's this guy do this? And then we'll have our John Harrison clown who's, we're so fortunate to have him.
He's famous.
Third-rated, for 3 years in a row, the Entertainer of the Year in the rodeo world. And then Roger Mooney, who's been here 20 years with us, is
also world famous.
Premier announcer that announces at the National Finals Rodeo. And then we'll have at about 9:30, Chancey Williams will go on. And so we've figured out how to divide the stadium, and it's going to be spectacular. So people can buy tickets, and they should buy them not through a reseller, but be careful to buy them through OgdenPioneerDays.com through our website. Okay. And it's very, very easy, and that's the way it ought to go. But we are so hopeful that people will embrace this, and it's a Friday night and going into a nice weekend, and why not?
Why not, right?
Why not? It's going to be a great time.
Is there a better place to be that time of year than at the rodeo stadium?
There's no better place. You see that sun begin to sit and reflecting off of our mountains here. It is like none other.
There is a time there, like you start showing up, you're like, oh, it's really hot.
Yeah, it's really, really hot.
And then, but it just suddenly, as the show starts, it just settles down, right?
Yes. And we're going to be doing that we started last year. We'll do it on the rodeo nights, Mayor. We'll doing this incredible drone show. You saw the drone show last year. It is just unbelievable. We had for lots of years those they would jump the motorcycles out there, and that was amazing. But we've now gone to a drone show, and it was so successful last year. We're going to do it again, and they just up there in the eastern sky, just amazing.
That is cool. The fun thing about the drones is you guys get to customize the show. You hit on Ogden themes. And
customize the show and Ogden theme.
We did it for the Union Station as well, and to see Ogden themes in the sky like that is really fun. Yeah. Makes for great imagery, great memories, right?
Yeah, it's just a spectacular night. I can't think, and again, the 91 years of tradition that Ogden Pioneer Days have, and even though we're a long way away from a rural county and a rural city, those roots are there. People want to honor their heritage, whatever that heritage is. It's just so many fun activities, and they're affordable, they're accessible, they're safe. And thanks to your incredible staff, your parks department, your first responders, the Ogden City Police Department, the Ogden City Fire Department, they were there present last night in our committee meeting, fully engaged, fully assisting, just embracing everything that we're doing. It's just an amazing partnership.
Yeah, that is. I appreciate you bringing the staff into it because it's just
so appreciated.
It's an important testament to when you work in public works, right? When we work for government, there's an inherent mistrust, and I get that all, but they have a tendency to be taken for granted. Our people often get overlooked, and the effort that they put into things to make things work is just so overlooked, from the parade to, to the rodeo and everything in between, and every single event, every logistic and detail. Like when the
last year when the generator went out, like
holy cow, was that
and it was your
tense
people
moment.
Who scrambled and made that happen.
It was,
and everything, it's the best laid plans, and sometimes things go wrong, particularly when you're dealing with technology.
Well, it was a brand new stadium upgrade.
Brand new stadium, it was
first
a $4
time
million stadium upgrade.
Yeah.
Everything had been done, renamed it the Spencer Fox Eccles Pioneer Stadium. We're ready to go. Getting going, power fails.
Everything had been tested. Everything was good to go.
Yes,
and then things happened.
Things happened,
and it was our staff. I remember.
Yes,
the whole stadium froze.
Yeah,
and our staff, everybody froze, and I looked around, and I remember seeing our staff were the ones running.
Yeah, they were running, scrambling.
Yeah, and in that moment, of course, the mayor's not going to do anything in the moment to fix it, right? Like,
yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah, what do you know? But
right. And I'm looking at my people, and my heart stopped for them because there was so much pressure on them in that moment. And one of our guys in our facilities crew was the one that had the idea to in the moment, for the time being, to use the generator on the welder that we had.
Yeah.
Right, to get the stadium going back up again. And then while they were doing that, our public works director, who was there for the show, he was all in the moment. So he got out of his seat, ran down with his team, and he's calling UDOT or a contractor or whatever.
Yeah.
And they got the more stable replacement on the way. The show continued on. No one ever knew, right?
No.
But there were public employees behind there, Ogden City employees, under the stands, sweating bullets to make sure it didn't stop, right?
Right. And Mayor, this is the kind of, this is just a gift from heaven, I'm going to call it almost, this kind of a partnership where those 25 years ago, the city said, look, we love this. This is our thing. We're going to continue to do this, but we need help. Let's reach out to the citizenry. Let's set up this foundation. But this is the city facility. We're going to still be involved in a big way. And I just saw enthusiasm last night from your people at the committee meeting, just awesome. Absolutely all in. They're amazing. Wait to get.
They're incredible people.
They're just incredible.
Well, most people don't get to enjoy that with them. So thank you thanks for highlighting it, but recognizing it and then highlighting it.
Yes, so critical. Couldn't do it. I mean, we couldn't do it. You'd have to have that ticket price out there, at $100 or so if you had to hire staff that had that kind of expertise coming from the outside world.
Well, and we've got staff that have been doing this time and time for years, and they understand.
They know it.
They know the infrastructure inside and out. They know the program inside and out. They know the logistics in and out. And man, we are so lucky to have them.
So lucky.
One of the things that we see in our staff here at the city is they feel very purpose-driven. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're connected and working within really consistent with their purpose and their why. Right. It's all about Ogden. They love this town. And so working here is more than just working at Ogden City Corporation.
Well, that's a credit. Look, Mayor, that's a credit, and I've been an elected official, but that's a credit to you, the council, the stability that we have seen, and I'm always looking at Ogden and following Ogden, the stability and the guidance and the leadership that we see here in Ogden City.
It's important.
And it's paying off.
This isn't Washington, D.C. This is Ogden, USA.
This is Ogden, USA.
Right.
We get things done. We listen to our constituency.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to fix that pothole or whatever it is.
We just work. We do the work.
We just work.
Well, and
we get joy from that and satisfaction from that.
That's correct. It feels like we're serving our life purpose.
That's right.
But it's more than just doing the work. It's making sure, Washington, D.C. is not getting a whole lot done at the moment.
No.
There's a history of that. But here in Ogden, I really pride myself in that we don't take things like the traditional partisanship. And we don't lob bombs at each other in order to get what we want. We work in a collaborative way, a communicative and a transparent way to work toward what we believe is best for Ogden, regardless of partisanship.
Right.
It's not the point. It's not about party. It's about people.
It's about people.
And so when you have that kind of governance and that kind of focus, like we have had for a long time, we've actually been hearing recently that people are upset that we're not mad at each other enough. And it's like, look, we got disagreements. We just don't treat each other that way here. Like if push came to shove and things got bad, you'd hear us get chirpy. There's no doubt. We would but there's alignment and there's consistency and stability and sense of purpose that I think is really important for a community. It shouldn't be.
We can agree to disagree, but let's keep in mind what the real focus is. It's serving the citizens of this community and making Ogden better and better each day, each week, each month, each year. And big challenges out there today.
Oh,
but
big time
challenges, but just addressing them. And so now we come to a famous, and it really is a famous Ogden celebration, and it's a time to, be a cowboy for a week.
Well,
and just do your thing and enjoy and just be so grateful that we have these opportunities here for us.
It is nice that I don't have to wear a suit every day for a week.
Nice, yes,
right?
Nice.
Blue jeans and boots. It's a lot more like what I came from, actually.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, I've never been a cowboy myself, but I have been a blue jeans and work boots guy.
Yes, yeah.
For a lot of my life. It's really nice to go back to that sense for a week.
That's terrific, Mayor.
Yeah.
Just great.
Well, is there anything else new we can look forward to this year, or?
I think that in that stadium refurbishment was the sound system. It was a very expensive sound system, but long overdue and much needed. And again, complaints. It's too loud, and so we've heard those things and got to tune it down. And
what
the stadium's in, of course, it's in an older part of the city. And, the parking is funky on the grass out there. I've done that my whole life. I think it's very fun. We do have a terrific parking option where north of the LDS Temple, that open space there belongs to the LDS Church. We've got a partnership there with the Ogden School District and their vendor to bus people. I mean, it is a 3-4 minute in and out of there. It's so easy to get in and out of the stadium. Don't hassle about the parking, even as fun as it is on the grass on the east and west sides. It's pretty limited, and you want to be very respectful of the neighborhoods around there. And they've been putting up with it for 90 years. But I hope that I hope there are very few.
It is a lot.
It's a lot of impact on them for a few days.
It is.
You think about what happens there, dragging in all those the bucking horses and the bucking bulls and the steers and and I should say too, if people just want to the real rodeo fans, every morning there's what's called slack. It's free of charge. It starts about 9 o'clock. You can go out there and just sit in the hot sun, bring your umbrella and get a cool drink, whatever. Concessions aren't open, but just enjoy for free these same competitors that are working their way up, because we don't have enough room in the 5-6 nights of the rodeo this year or any year to put all these competitors in. And we bring in 1,000 competitors, Mayor. These are the top rodeo contestants. A lot of people don't know who they are. It doesn't matter. They are the best of the best.
That's correct. Yep.
And they, 26 different countries represented. But this is a time in late July where these contestants, they can run from Ogden to the Salt Lake Rodeo, to Spanish Fork and Rodeo down there, and they can just clean up on their prize money, and they just love it. You don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to drive 12 hours to a rodeo in California.
Mm-hmm.
You can just stay right here in this corridor, and it is really something special that's just happened and grown up, and
so
we're all benefiting.
But you say something that I think one of the things that we take for granted. You said, first of all, these are athletes we're talking about.
Yes.
That they're professionals. You said 26 countries represented.
Yes.
This is an international sporting event.
It is becoming
It's not just an entertainment event. This is an international sporting event, which is important to remember because we'll be hosting an international sporting event in 2034. The Olympics is coming to Utah, Ogden being one of the host cities for the Olympics.
Yes.
And this is part of our culture. It's part of our DNA.
Yes,
that we take for granted, that we often forget, that we lose sight of that connection, right? But this is a world-class event, literally with world-class athletes from all over the world, right here in our own backyard.
Right here to good old Ogden, Utah.
That's right. And those kinds of things come with enormous impacts for this community, tremendous benefits, right?
Right.
So what are some of those? I see you got your booklet out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we will give out $600,000 in prize money. And so the contestants pay money in, the committee adds money too, and it comes up to this huge number. And that's where Ogden gets ranked in the top 14 because of our payouts. I mean, 500 volunteers. The top bareback rider last year won almost $12,000. 8 seconds of work. It's based upon the draw, the animal that they're going to ride, and these horses and these bulls. I've seen these auctions, a little bit of these auctions. I saw a bull that I've seen here in Ogden before sell for $100,000. This is big.
This is big
business.
Time. Oh yeah,
big business, and it's not the NBA, it's not the NFL, no, but this is big business for this segment. And like I say, the Western lifestyle is just exploding in the United States right now, and it's very fun to be on that wave here in Ogden and to celebrate and to go into the 91st edition of Ogden Pioneer Days.
Well, we're excited about it
too. Thank you, Mayor, your staff, all of the people for your assistance, your help, your support, your enthusiasm, and being present as the head of the city here at all of these events as your time allows.
Oh, it's an honor to do it, actually. Yeah. No, but the credit goes to the staff. The work is being done in the trenches. I'm telling you, I mean, the Monty Stewarts of Ogden. Like the Rich Kings that have been doing it for years, the police staff that put in the overtime shifts, and same with fire, first responders, the public works and facilities. I mean, they just put in so much energy and effort. It's more than just putting in the hours.
Right.
They're putting everything they have. I mean, they're taking time from their families. Part of why that neighborhood is so impacted is because we're working on that rodeo almost 24 hours a day for the lead up, during, and the teardown.
Yes, exactly.
And so, those are people, Ogden City employees, public employees, that people think one thing about a public employee, and it's not what we have here. We got people that absolutely grind for us, right?
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I can just see the joy in their faces. They love what they're doing. I mean, it's 5 or 6 nights of just intensity, but they really love what they're doing, and that pays off. And I think the folks who come, we will have in that neighborhood of 50,000 people to Ogden Pioneer Days and more with our additional night on the 18th. Our Bulls, Broncs, and Bands on the 18th will have even more. And so it takes a lot to manage that, but it's not our first rodeo.
There you go.
Learning and improving things every year, but this is just, we know what we're doing. We have an incredibly dedicated committee. No one is paid. We have one 1099 employee who's part-time, Judy, who keeps us all running and together, but everyone else is volunteer.
That's pretty impressive.
In the foundation. It's very impressive.
So if you're
very impressive.
Getting back to how we began, that structure and that framework, there's the efficiencies. Those are the cost savings to have that foundation structure.
And so that same passion and desire to succeed and serve the people comes from the foundation. It's multiple committees.
No doubt.
And then in this collaborative partnership with the professional Ogden City staff who also exhibit the same level of dedication and passion. And after it's over on the night of the 24th, there's a lot of cleanup and all that kind of stuff. But I think people have to go away with a smile on their faces, those who've been involved in it just so deeply. Wow, we did it. We did it again. Everyone had a great time. This improves our community. This enhances this city's reputation. It's one of those elements, one of those items.
It's just one of those things that continues to keep Ogden on the stage.
Yeah.
Keeps us relevant, pushes us, moving us forward.
Keeps us relevant, moving forward.
I mean, the economic impact of an event like this is so big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I should say that we don't have that sense of purpose only at Ogden City and our employees.
Right.
It's an Ogden thing, right? That's why the foundation is replete with it. And it's bigger than just Ogden City proper. This is an Ogden community, the greater Ogden community.
It's
right? So if you're from West Haven, you still still associate with Ogden as home to
That's
a degree,
right.
right?
That's right.
And there's a sense of pride. You see the greater Ogden community really come in and contribute to this thing here in Ogden City, right? As we welcome the world. And I do think that there is still, certainly, we're a long ways from the rural frontier here in the Wasatch Front and in the city from where we're sitting, but there are still elements of the western frontier and the heritage throughout our county, especially in the western Weber County.
That's exactly right. And those multiple generations, those deep roots,
right,
are there, and individuals want to honor their however many generations you go back, and there are all kinds of definitions of what a pioneer is. It's not just the 1847 to 1869 pioneers. There are pioneers today, and so Mayor, Ogden City, with this Ogden Way, you are pioneering in your own way a vision, a direction, success for the city of Ogden.
Right.
It's what a great thing.
Well, actually, we've been talking about the rodeo. We really should be talking about the pioneers. We really should be what this all stands for and why we're doing it and celebrating, right?
Why?
Because it's significant. I didn't come up with the Ogden Way out of nothing. In fact, getting back to what, when I was working in legislative affairs, I was working with the Governor Herbert's administration at that time, right?
Yes, you were.
And worked with a lot of different cabinet members and appointees. And I remember him the most. That was one of the biggest impressions he made on me, is he talked about the Utah Way a lot. And me being a kid from Phoenix,
what is that?
I'm like, when he says that, what does he mean?
What is that?
And it's not like it's in a dictionary, it's just the thing that we talk about. It's really a cultural thing. And I asked him, and I asked others, and that's really where this came from, is I never forgot what it was to be in Utah and what it means to work here. Because you see that sense of pioneer heritage and that spirit. It's a spirit of independence, but it's also a spirit of togetherness, right? Because our pioneers face so many challenges, escaping persecution for starters, that where you would come with that independent streak. But then you don't escape persecution, come across the plains and the country through all of those challenges and those struggles without some sense of togetherness and community, right?
Right.
And it's amazing to me, and this is what I love most about Utah, is that that's still in us. I mean, it is so deep within our bones and within our blood that when the governor at the time just says that little thing, I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
And I'm like, oh, right? Because those are the things that brought me here. Those are the things I felt. How you feel welcomed when you come to Ogden, that the people embrace you. I came on a football recruiting visit and felt different here for some reason. Couldn't tell. I told my parents when I had the two finalists for which scholarship to sign.
Offers you had.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why, but this one just feels right.
Yeah.
It just felt right when I was there. I can't explain it. It didn't have my major. They didn't have the winning tradition at the time. You know what I mean? But it felt right.
Yeah.
And that's what it means to be a Utahn.
Look at you today, Mayor. Look at you.
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
Look at you don't know the twists and turns of that's going to take.
So when I signed that scholarship, I had no idea that one day I'd be the mayor of the city that I'm coming to. But that's the Utah way, and that's still the Ogden way. Yeah. The Ogden way is a little bit different. We do it with a chip on our shoulder. We got a lot of people that don't believe in us. We believe in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And we've got a spirit of drive and grit and compassion for each other and collaboration that others just don't have. Yeah. And that's why we develop a framework for ourselves, a vision for our city.
Great.
A mission fantastic. And a vision and shared values and a framework for all of us to work together, not just here at the city, for all as nonprofit partners.
Yeah.
That's the Ogden way.
That's the Ogden way.
Right.
And, we can look at some old books around here, some scripture, and that is that, where there is no vision, the people perish. And so people have to have a vision, and they have to know where they're going, and they'll embrace it. And, you could even talk about that, the 1847 to 1869 pioneers. They didn't know where they were going initially. They came here and they carved it out. And you look at the heritage here. I mean, the Fort Buenaventura, the Goodyear cabin, the mountain man, all this stuff. They come, the Brigham Young companies come, and they carve this out. And I've got these old, that my dad was a lawyer here in Ogden, and I have this old map of Ogden laid out the way it was, and then in the days they changed the street names to honor the presidents, and that's fine,
Yep.
And it's just a colorful.
And that was like an act of resistance, wasn't it?
And that was an act of resistance. But I think of my own pioneer, my own heritage. I mean, my father was born in 1921, and he spent most of his time here in Ogden. And he sold newspapers as a young kid over here on 24th and Washington. And his grandfather had been an actual pioneer who came in 1863. So that in my family and lots of these families, and it doesn't have to be those kinds of pioneers, it has to be pioneers today and pioneering the way we're talking about, the Ogden way, and moving this incredible city forward to to be what it can be. Better and better and better every day, every year.
Always building, always growing.
Building, always improving.
Which is actually one of our shared values in the Ogden Way, is a continual mindset of personal, professional, and collaborative community growth.
Isn't that so great?
And you don't have to be bashful when you mention the scriptures, because it's all part and parcel to our culture here. Mm-hmm. It's our heritage, whether you believe in it or not, or you ascribe to a spiritual or a faith,
religious heritage here.
Whatever it is you believe or don't believe. Mm-hmm. I do believe in our culture and what we come from, what we stand for, right? And this pioneer heritage and culture is a blessing for everybody, because imagine the strength and the sense of faith and the enduring faith to have that kind of struggle. The stories that you hear when we kick off the week at the Tabernacle, and they share the stories of pioneers losing 9 children along the way, yet still having the faith and the vision for what they're doing and why and where they're going.
The fortitude and the grit. You mentioned grit. Yes.
That is absolutely inspiring, regardless of your faith, right?
Yes, it has to be inspiring.
It all is part of why Ogden is such an incredible place. That's why people come here and they feel something different. That's why when they come to work, they feel different. That's why when they volunteer and serve on a foundation, it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
So when you come and you enjoy our rodeo, it's different. It's put on by people, for people, right?
Yeah.
Not just corporate.
Yeah, the only thing that we, the volunteers, the foundation, we get out of it is just the joy of making it, improving it every year and making it better and better, and to see how Ogden Pioneers has grown from this little local thing to this internationally and nationally recognized event within this space. Most people don't know about it. They don't embrace it, but they just have to know. And that's why thank you for this opportunity to kind of express some of these things, Mayor.
Right.
And just reinforce and educate maybe a little bit.
Always looking for that. But it's that same exact thing that you mentioned, the car show. That's put on by Ogden people.
That's right.
With support from Ogden city staff, right?
Right.
Those are Ogden people and other people that come from all over, regulars year after year after year, to show off their vehicle and their car, to spend time in Ogden, a place that they love to be, along with our people that they love to be around, right? Same with our marathon. We just had a marathon. We got people from all over the world.
The Ogden Marathon.
Boston qualifier. Yeah. It's one of the best marathons in the world.
Unbelievable.
As evidenced by the runners.
I
mean, surveys by Runner's World magazine.
Incredible route.
Because runners not only enjoy the course and the run, it's a gorgeous run. They love the people. They feel different when they come here. That's the spirit of Ogden, right? Like, how blessed are we?
Yeah, we are really blessed, and let's not take it for granted. Let's remember it. Let's embrace it. Let's hold it dear.
That's exactly right. So, and I think that is a good point to end on.
Thank you.
Let's not take it for granted. Let's do hold it dear. Let's remember that we have an important role of stewardship in the spirit of the pioneer days. Right.
That's right.
Let's remember who we are and where we come from. Remember the gifts that our pioneers have given us when we celebrate that week. And let's make sure, for our call to action, that if you don't have your rodeo tickets yet, what was the website again?
Well, it's www.ogdenpr.org. OgdenPioneerDays.com. Starts on the 18th with an added event this year, Bowls, Broncs, and Bands, up-and-coming Chancey Williams. And it's going to be a little mini rodeo, and then we'll start the actual 5 nights on the 19th, Saturday, skip Sunday, 1, 2, 3, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Miss Rodeo Utah coronation, all kinds of great things. Just a great, great time. And look forward to seeing you, Mayor, there, and the council, and your guests and your families.
Absolutely.
And we're all going to just kick up our heels and play cowboy, cowgirl for about a week.
That's right. So thank you to Steve Handy. Thank you to the foundation. Thank you to the city staff. Thank you to the Ogden City Council. Thank you to the people of Ogden, the volunteers that make it all possible. Gosh, I wish it was this next week, right?
Yeah.
We got me excited, but I'm glad we have time to give our people
Thank you
an opportunity to get involved.
The story today, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve Handy, an old friend, but also an old contributor to Ogden High graduate, chair of the foundation. Everybody, thanks for being with us. Until our next episode of The Ogden Way, make sure you get out there, get involved, give back to our people, and live the spirit of the Ogden Way.